The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. It's brought to you along with Levi Solicitors, who will give you a 10% discount on your legal fees at levisolicitors.co.uk/the Square Ball. Dan Moylan with you along with Michael Normanton in a nice shirt today, which you can see on the video version. What is it, France 98?
France 98. I'll move my mic close to shall I? France 98 was a gift from
Thierry Henry.
When I was 1998 age, 14-ish, I did a French exchange thing with my school, and this was a gift from my Frenchman. You can see the sizes of 90s clothing.
What was the name of your Frenchman? Was it Pierre?
He was called Frédéric.
Oh.
Frédéric Durand.
You still in touch?
Nah, I think it was one of those, they made you write some letters before, but then afterwards. He was a nice bloke.
Yeah.
Lad, whatever he was.
Was he a bloke?
Big hairy chest on him.
Grooming you. Good God.
It's a share of bed. Unusual times.
Did you give him a shirt back?
Yeah, some sort of gift. I think I got him a rugby. I think he was into rugby rather than football, which was a bit of an issue because he knew I was into football. They just obviously stuck us together because they were both like sport. But yeah, and it was obviously the World Cup was in France as well, so it's kind of a big deal that year.
Coupe du Monde, as I would say.
Indeed, and also the shirt because I put it on. And I was like, "God, this is massive. How is this still too big for me?" And the labels had a little bit cut out of it, so you can't actually see what size it is.
Looks like
it's
a grand.
I think it is a grand, or even a plus grand, something like that. So it's a nice shirt.
A dart player,
but it does smell like a charity shop.
Excellent.
Because it's been in a loft for a long time.
Good stuff. And Rob, you've got a lovely shirt on. It's Rob Conlon. That's our Square Ball Away shirt, isn't it?
Even nicer. I thought you were going to ask if I've been groomed on.
Probably, let's steer clear of this. Just stay careful with the algorithm. You can buy the shirt on our shop, which is at thesquareball.net. And you can also find, this is the World Cup diary, obviously, and we're doing our own World Cup, the World Buttercup, which is our own, following the same format tournament as the real World Cup, but we're pitting Leeds players, past and present, against each other head-to-head in random categories.
Yeah.
And we just before this recorded some episodes with Adam Pope that will go out next week, which are the group deciders. And we got into some fun things.
I thought it was very funny.
The highlight possibly when we discussed Douglas, the trombone butterman, who used to be in front of the East Stand.
Popey was blissfully unaware of tromboning.
What tromboning was. If you are, urbandictionary.com, have a look. Thesquareball.net for TSB Plus as well if you want to watch those and listen to those episodes for the Buttercup. And same place for Rob's beautiful shirt as well. World Cup then.
And the charity calendar.
And the charity.
Get that while you're on there.
Yeah, she had the charity. In fact, I think it's in the link. I'm pointing down. It's in the link.
Smash a like, guys.
Yeah. It's in the description for the episode if you want to buy the charity calendar. It's a tenner. All the profits go to the Leeds Cancer Centre, which is great. And it's World Cup chat. This is our World Cup diary, where we will talk about the World Cup, the FIFA version. And we are recording. It's Thursday lunchtime now. So there's a game just about to kick off between some people. But we're here to talk about the stuff that has happened, mainly Tuesday, Wednesday. Some highlights in there.
Yeah, I've not much to say about Switzerland, Cameroon, because I didn't watch any of it. I think that's the first game I've not seen any of so far in this World Cup. I think I've watched at least a bit of all of the games.
Yeah, I listened to it on the radio.
That's very old-fashioned.
I'm not just on the way in here, I mean, this morning. But Saudi Arabia beating Germany. Argentina, rather, and Japan beating Germany. Looked like penis ball that the Japanese were playing as well. It was all very sort of run around, rash stuff.
The Germans like it that way, though, don't they?
They were a bit penis bally as well, weren't they? The Germans, I think.
They obviously need Robin Koch in defence.
Yeah.
I don't know who did start. I actually missed that game. I feel slightly cursed in that the last few games I've seen were Morocco 0, Croatia 0, Denmark 0, Tunisia 0, and what was the
Mexico Poland?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, you want to get the video of that one?
It was Canada last night. That was 1-0, wasn't it? Against Belgium.
They were very Leedsy, weren't they? Like
that was
loads
quite
of
fun,
attacking.
though, that game.
They were quite Bielsa Leedsy, weren't they? Like loads of attacking play, loads of chances, couldn't score.
Jonathan David up front. It's what we could have had.
Yes. Yeah. Look what you could have won.
And a really old man in defence. It's good to have stuff like that. I like stuff like that happens at World Cups when a smaller nation qualifies and there's some guy who's just been there forever and they're like, yeah, fine, he can still play, even though he's. I think, is he 39?
39 years, yeah.
Bloody hell.
What did you make of Rasmus playing? He was effectively sort of right midfield, wasn't he, for Denmark? Because they had a back three and he was pushed further forward.
They were pretty... Denmark struggled in that game, didn't they? Tunisia, I thought, were the better team.
It was almost the game that people had forecast for the England-Iran game, wasn't it? A bit of a grind.
But people have been tipping Denmark as sort of dark horses, and then that game was pretty rubbish. Tunisia probably should have won. Rasmus was all right. He got booked for tackling someone's boot off, which was nice.
Yeah, caught a man's foot a bit, didn't he? He didn't even stand on it. He just took his boot off. Didn't even get booked for it.
Quite skilled, really.
Yeah. No laces though. I don't think. Do they? They've got the slip-on ones, which is why I wonder. When they're treading on each other's feet by accident and they're all leaping up in the air, whether they need some good sturdy leather.
Football boots don't have laces anymore.
A lot of them are slip-on.
Is that right?
So look, I've
like
not,
a loafer.
Yeah.
I'm not playing at this World Cup, Michael.
But they're not far off glorified socks. They're so lightweight now. Yeah.
Were those Stone Island boots real? I saw some screenshots going around of someone of some Stone Island football boots, and I was like, people aren't actually playing in these, are they?
This is news to me.
Is it the England supporters that are wearing them?
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know what's real and what's not sometimes.
Along with like Spain 7-0 against Costa Rica, the England game sort of one of the highlights. No, kind of the with form highlights, if you like, of the tournament so far. The obviously standout ones are the Saudis beating Argentina and Japan beating Germany. But in terms of what you'd expect from the heavyweight sides, it was quite entertaining, wasn't it? It was nice to watch England in a more relaxed manner than feeling stressed by it, because we're getting up for that at Ellen Road. Yeah,
definitely. And the Spain game was fun in terms of just to see someone scoring some goals, but Germany-Japan's probably been the best actual game so far, I would say.
I watched the first half of the Spain game, and was it 3-0 they were winning at half-time or 4-0? I think they'd scored with all their shots, and you did think, bloody hell, these look good. And then it went to half-time, and it was Keane or Souness just going, yeah, but look at the state of Costa Rica. You think, well, I was enjoying that, actually.
Yeah, he just wanted him to be defensive, didn't he, basically? It was like, you can't play like this. I mean, but that's what Souness says about everything. You need to be more physical. They're not up for the fight. That's his basic get out for everything.
Souness and Roy Keane had a bit of an argument, didn't they? That was fun. Did you see that? And Joe Cole sat there in the corner going, you've seen that scene in Breaking Bad when he's drinking the water around the table going, oh, that with his eyes.
It's like when Moscow comes in a mood. When we just sit there going, oh no, he's cross.
Dad's going to shout again. Have you seen anybody you want to sign so far?
Every left back and every striker. Actually, not anyone from none of Canada's strikers.
Well, do you know what I'm saying? There was a Canada striker, I've forgotten his name now, but he was very tricky, would beat a lot of players, get towards goal, blaze it over, like brilliantly over as well, like miles over. I did think, I'd fit right in it.
It was Sosa, wasn't it? It was the left back for Croatia. You see him? Is he the one I'm thinking about?
Don't know.
Just say yeah and say you want him.
Yeah, let's have him.
Feed the joke. Yeah, it's been all right. I've enjoyed it.
It's got going a bit, hasn't it?
To a point, yeah. That the football is becoming more dominant, I think, versus the other stuff. The other stuff is persistent, and I'm glad it is as well, because it's an absolutely grubby tournament, in it, the whole thing.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're watching a good game and the stadium is at least mainly full, you can kind of get into it. I think that first game, because of the quality of it being so dire and the fact it was an empty stadium, it just had such a Emirates Cup pre-season feel to it. It was like no one gave a fuck is what it felt like. Whereas as it gets more into it, and it feels like there's been a bit of atmosphere at some of the games. So, but I mean, yeah, it's obviously still shit.
It's because it's not football as we recognise it, is it? It was you went to Germany in 2006, and you know Germany is a hotbed of football, isn't it? You're going to go in there, you know you're in a football ground. Whereas this is going to be a huge novelty to people in the Middle East who have really consumed high-level football as a TV program and as a video game for a lot of their lives. So it's going to be a vastly different experience, isn't it? As I said before on the previous World Cup diary, I'm mindful that we as Europeans and Western Europeans and all this, you know, people who invented the game and all that, we can't be the gatekeepers for everything. That's not to say the tournament should be in Qatar, but like I've looked at, for example, like Tunisian fans, Moroccan fans as well, and you're thinking, World Cup there would be good. If you're going to start spreading it around a little bit in actual traditional football nations. Because I think part of the problem is that everything's been too close in this one.
Yeah, well, there's not enough people to really be for there to be, and they're not enough people and not enough cities for it to feel like a normal World Cup, because it's. But normally part of the vibe you get from a World Cup is that you kind of go, oh, we're in Leipzig and there's a bit of history to this place, and oh, we're in Munich now, and it'll move around and there's interesting stories associated with it. Whereas this is all just like, here's a new stadium we built. Fuck knows what we're going to do with it afterwards.
It's weird to know how to feel, because I've probably watched more than I was expecting, and I've enjoyed parts of it. And then, like you say, there are games where you see like a half-empty stadium and the quality's crap. But then part of me is thinking, good, I kind of want it to be shit. It's hard to know, like, oh shit, what am I meant to enjoy this? Or yeah, it's weird to know. Where it's like in the opening game, the Qatar game, when there was the mad VAR decision at the start. Part of me was thinking like, God, imagine if they win it. Like, but that'd just almost be like,
it's too Hollywood, isn't it?
But it'd be almost good, because then it'd be like, oh, look how obviously corrupt it all is. But yeah, so it's a strange one of knowing where to pitch it almost.
That Qatar side, thankfully, looked too shit to even win it by cheating, because they need to be awarded penalties. They're going to have to get the ball in the box at some point, which they did like once, didn't they? I think against in that opening game. So yeah, I think that's looking relatively safe. And the thing is, you've got to almost disconnect sometimes what's happening with it, because like seeing how happy Saudi Arabia were with winning that game and what that means to them as a nation, and like what that is in their history of watching their football team. It's good. It's good to watch a man taking a door off to celebrate, as you saw on the videos. And likewise, for the Japanese fans, it's a huge moment for them to win these games, and it's nice to watch people being made happy
nice
by football, and equally to watch some people being made miserable by football, because that's part of it as well. Is that Argentina fans are probably turning up to that thinking, and having watched the first half, probably thinking, we should be like 3-0 up here. We'll piss this second half, put a foot down a bit.
Football, though, isn't it?
And then stuff like that happens, and you think, it's quite fun. even though I'm not exactly a supporter of Saudi Arabia as a country, but
So Newcastle fans will be pleased.
That's the old joke in it, yeah. But it's nice to see some upsets.
Yeah, that's what football is about, isn't it? It is what football is about. What have you made of the punditry as well? I mentioned before the Souness versus Keane contretemps in the studio. Which can't remember which game it was, but they were getting annoyed at whatever, weren't they? It was one of the penalties. It was
Argentina, Saudi Arabia, wasn't it?
Do you know what? I've not actually watched that. I saw it going mad on Twitter, and I just thought, I don't need to see Roy Keane and Graham Souness sort of shouting at each other.
But Souness is predictable. Souness is like a dog with a bone sometimes, or some stuff. Like Roy Keane, you almost see him as a bit of a pantomime villain when he's on the telly, and he almost plays up to his personality. Not that I'm convinced he could be any other way than he is. But Souness is almost like pathological with his hatred and his annoyance of some stuff. Like they were doing some analysis, I think it was one of the games yesterday, but they were doing some analysis of the England game, and because the news had come through that Harry Kane's likely to be all right for the USA game on Friday tomorrow, which we'll get onto in a minute. And Souness was furious, that saying, "This is a guy, he's rolled his ankle before. We know he's got ankle problems. Take him off. These players need saving from themselves." Thanks, Graham, and then moved on to somebody else. And then what do you think about that, Graham? Well, he needs saving from himself. And he made the same point 3 times. And you just like, Graham, you've said that.
Makes it hard for the host as well when they're like, we're trying desperately to talk about something else, Graham.
Well, it's like if you ever listen to like radio phone-ins, and obviously in my past life, having done radio, I always used to pre-record my calls. But when they're doing live phone-ins like that, you know that when the caller, if you listen to BBC Radio Leeds after a game, for example, as soon as the caller starts repeating themselves, or 606, for example, on 5 Live, they'll start repeating themselves, make the same point again, but in slightly different words. The call will always get binned because they've run out of things to say. Souness did it 3 times. Like you can't just kick him out of the studio, can you? But McCoist I've enjoyed watching as well. Ali McCoist as a co-commentator, was it the Germany-Japan game that he did co-coms on, and he said, what an honour it is to be here. And you thought, do you know what? That's what you want to hear. Yeah. You've heard some of them in the past, like who was it who famously always sounds like he can't be arsed? Mark Lawrenson always said that. Lee Dixon as well.
Well, someone said it was about Danny Murphy, but I think I retweeted it because it made me laugh. Someone said he's got the air of a lifeguard at a lifeguard at an inquiry or something, an inquest. Just sounds really sorry for himself. Like, yes, mistakes were made.
But Ali McCoist absolutely loves it. No matter who it is, he's really well researched, has a great time doing the job that he clearly loves because he can't play anymore. So what's the next best thing is to commentate about it.
It is the enthusiasm that it's like, oh, this man enjoys what he's doing. And also he seems to have a soft spot for Leeds, which is nice as well.
I wonder if that's why I enjoyed why I'm considering Germany-Japan to be the highlight, because he made it enjoyable. He made it into a big event, it happening. Whereas, you can imagine Danny Murphy had just been going, well, Germany are going to be really having to look at themselves after this. This is going to not land well there. They need to look at the defence. They need to look at the defensive structure. They've been just doing that. Whereas McCoist was like, brilliant, Japan have scored. That was good fun.
But you've been Murphy spotting. You're on Murphy watch.
There was a really nice Twitter clip of him. I think it might have been from Gary Lineker, but it must have been the BBC pundits sort of working out in the gym, and there was Micah Richards and Rio Ferdinand, quite buff blokes, it's fair to say. And then he just panned to the side, and there was Danny Murphy sat on a little weights machine. It's looking like a grey old man.
Rio Ferdinand's got even bigger, hasn't he, since retiring? He's like,
is he hench, as the kids?
Yeah, I don't know if he's on the roids for the first time ever.
No, he's not.
He's allowed to be. He's not playing.
Let's hope he's not. Let's talk about England, USA. Happy Thanksgiving to our American listeners/viewers. That's today, I think.
Okay,
Thursday, isn't it? Tomorrow is Black Friday, which is when everyone goes out shopping, I think.
It's been. I remember Black Friday first came in, and it was like it was a day, and now it's been on all month, hasn't it? Weirdly.
Yeah, I actually thought it was last week, so I started to get emails about it ages ago.
I've been buying stuff on Amazon for about a week now. How do you fancy this one's going to go? It's going to be a tasty little matchup, this, isn't it? 'Cause we've got like emotional investment in both sides of this. Obviously being English, but you obviously want to see how like Tyler Adams gets on, Aronson as well.
Bonus for England that Maguire might be out.
That's mean.
Etc.
That is mean.
And we get Ben White potentially as a result of.
Will it be Eric Dyer?
It was pretty dispiriting just seeing Eric Dyer replace him the other day, wasn't it? Give us Ben White, come on.
Yeah, give us Ben White. Be more fun, wouldn't it? But yeah, I think England will win. USA looked pretty crap in that second half, I have to say.
Americans will be on you like.
They did. Yeah, Americans are the ones who've been saying it the most. They were furious with that second half from what I can see of them.
It did make me laugh seeing a lot of American fans on Twitter moaning about Berhalter sort of not making changes and just sitting on the game. I thought, well, I know a guy for you.
we want someone like Jesse Marsh in charge instead.
Which fixtures have you got your eye on? Then we've got a list of them here just in front of us on the sheet because I think we're going to come back Monday or thereabouts to see how this all pans out, and we've got Wales-Iran as well, not forgetting that one on Friday, which is that a must-win for Wales, and how do you fancy they're going to get on? Dan James striking his way to qualification.
I felt really sorry for him the other day. Like, he's just spent a year playing out of position up front, and he gets to the World Cup, and it's like, right, Dan, you're leading the line. Go on, mate.
What makes people think he can do it?
It's almost like a school level thought, isn't it? Of like put the quick kid on the wing, but he's not on the wing. They're doing it up front, like maybe trying to play like catching people on the break, like the low block stuff. Yeah,
because we've seen it more than anyone. Dan James struggling to play up front. But yet people still persist with it.
Is he playing off the striker or is he playing as the striker?
I mean, in fairness, in that first half, when he was on, Wales appeared to be not playing with anyone up front. Seems to be the gist of it. It was just everyone. I don't know if Dan James was meant to be up front, but like as a holder, keep their defence high up and then leg it over the top. But they never did it. So I don't know. I think he was playing up front, but it was basically impossible to tell because they never had the ball. And when Dan James did have the ball, he just did that run into a corner and pass it backwards thing, which we've seen many times. Kiefer Moore made him really a lot better, which seems odd to say.
Do you reckon he'll start maybe against Iran?
I would say so. They need to win, don't they?
Yeah.
They've got to beat Iran. It's got to be the target. So yeah, I think they'll probably play an actual striker.
It's the
missing Tyler Roberts, of course.
It's the World Cup, innit? You want that novelty of like a freakish player. I suppose they tried it with Dan James, just like the little quick lad. It's like, no, get the massive guy up front.
So before we get round to the England-USA game tomorrow, we've got Brazil-Serbia tonight, Thursday night. First glimpses of Brazil. They're always fun at a World Cup, aren't they? Always look forward to watching Brazil. Rafinha, maybe?
Still out, sort of, isn't he? As our Ghana, because of Tony Yeboah playing for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
20-odd years ago. They'll always be my African team. I always rooting for those guys. Think of Tony going mad in his hotel, celebrating a win.
We don't really have much Leeds news, do we? It's all been relatively quiet. There have been some links to transfers, like the links to Charles de Ketelaere have resurfaced about Leeds apparently saying, keep us posted. If you don't want him, then we'll have him.
For a knockdown price, presumably.
Yeah.
Now he's rubbish.
Loan to buy. We can fix him. Bring him in, we can fix him.
I was hoping that he came off the bench for Belgium last night, just to see that he's a real footballer, because he only sort of exists in my imagination as like a clickbait headline.
I did enjoy Kevin De Bruyne essentially rejecting the Man of the Match trophy. I was like, what have you given me this for? Is it just because I'm called Kevin De Bruyne?
Did he get it?
Yeah.
He wasn't very good.
No, and he's what he said. He said,
Right.
I didn't have a great game.
Bloody hell, fair play.
No, no.
How was it decided that? Was it on
I don't know.
Is it a vote? Is it a sponsor's pick?
Maybe they're letting Budweiser do it after all the shenanigans with them.
Do they still do this at Leeds? Probably not. I think it's probably a vote somewhere now. But in the old days in the programme,
Socios?
The sponsor used to pick man of the match, didn't he? So it'd be like, here's Gary from
Tony
Scaffolding
Skips or
Company,
whatever,
and he thinks Gary McAllister was man of the match, and it was basically one fella's choice.
Yeah.
Completely arbitrary. He could just be like, I like him. I want to meet Noel
Yeah,
Whelan, so he's man of the match.
It used to be who I wanted to meet in the post-match thing, wasn't it?
So Belgium was shit. I was quite pleased with that. I'm quite pleased to see that some of the good teams are actually rubbish, because I kind of thought Germany and Argentina would be good, and then I know Belgium did win, but they were still rubbish.
There was still time for these teams to get good. That's the point. You can't read too much into one defeat.
No, I suppose not.
Got to be careful with all that.
But still, like Canada are not a great side, are they? Well, I didn't think they were.
Well, there's the surprise element, isn't there? Whereas you think whoever faces Canada next might be equipped differently to deal with it because they've seen how they played, so they've got a bit of data they can refer to about how they're going to approach the tournament.
Did also make me think of Martin. Some people were suggesting we could get Martinez after the World Cup as well as a replacement for Jesse. No.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Cannot organise a defence. Never could.
Well, there you go. I think that just about wraps up the World Cup diary for now, doesn't it? Unless there's anything else you want to add.
Don't think there's much.
Tell us more about your bloke in France.
It was weird because you can't obviously in France
You're picturing a grown man, aren't you, Rob?
Yeah,
Sounds weird.
Yeah, he had to go off to the building site every day, did he? Come home. I had to be tethered. No, it's just weird because obviously, like in France, they do languages properly.
Yeah.
And in England, you'd learn like to say you've got
A pencil sharpener.
a guinea pig and you've got
turn
sister
left
or whatever.
to get to the town hall.
That sort of stuff. So when conversationally, as having done like 2 or 3 years of French at this point, you absolutely fuck all use. You can't say anything. So you get dropped into a household full of French people and they speak to you in French and you go, can we just do English because you're all good at that.
Yeah.
So it was
Je ne comprends pas.
So it was basically me speaking slower English for a week.
Which you can do that on holiday, can't you?
Yeah, it was a fucking nice house.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Was it a chateau?
It pretty much was. It was a huge place in the countryside. It was lovely. Then, I mean, the reason it was in Castres, I don't know how you pronounce it, Castres, which was twinned with Wakefield because of geographical reasons. Well, yeah. And then you looked around their town and it was a really beautiful town. All these houses on the river and stuff.
This poor man being shipped over to
and then you're thinking,
Wakey.
it's not much like Wakefield. Have you got a comet? We've got a comet. Tandy?
Comet doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
No, it doesn't anymore.
There we go. Oh, well, thanks for that, Michael. Appreciated it.
It was a nice town, though, if you ever want to go somewhere.
Wakefield.
To Wakefield, yeah.
You're going to show people around. Well, there you go. That wraps up the World Cup update for now. We'll be back on probably Monday, to round things up again for you. And we'll speak to you then.
The Square Ball Podcast.